नमस्कार मित्रों, आप सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. Very warm welcome to all. As you are aware through our SMS today, we are going to have on-record briefing in the context of the forthcoming visits of the Prime Minister to Germany, Spain, Russia and France. So for that I have with me two of my friends and great colleagues, Shri G.V. Srinivas, who is Joint Secretary Eurasia, for briefing us all on the visit of Prime Minister to Russia, and Shri Randhir Jaiswal, Joint Secretary West Europe, for briefing on Prime Minister's visit to Germany, Spain and France. Without much ado, let me hand the floor to GV for the briefing on Russia. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Gopal. Prime Minister Shri Modi would be visiting Russia beginning 31st of May. Then he will be having his bilateral meeting with President Putin on 1st of June. And the second day, that is 2nd of June, he would be participating in St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. All these things are happening in St. Petersburg for the first time in the history of India and Russia relations. The bilateral summit will be happening outside Moscow. We all know that the strategic partnership between the two countries was established in the year 2000, which was raised to the level of special and privileged strategic partnership in the year 2010. Ever since, and Russia is the only country with which we have yearly annual summits. This will be the 18th in series. And the first day, that is the 1st of June, that the Prime Minister would be having interaction with President Putin. He would be having the standard restricted talks, delegation level talks, followed by interaction with the CEOs forum, which will be assembling there separately. Agreements which would have been ready by then would be signed, followed by media interaction. That will be the main segment in the afternoon time, which will be followed thereafter by one-to-one dinner between the President Putin and Prime Minister Modi. This is something which has been found to be extremely useful for the leaders to connect and interact with each other on issues of interest to them, which will continue even during this summit in St. Petersburg. Just to give you a backdrop to the entire thing, as we all know, the last summit, 17th, had happened in Goa. And ever since October, so it's less than a year that the President and Prime Minister will be meeting again in St. Petersburg. The fact that the summit is happening in St. Petersburg, along with the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, reconfirms the point that there's an emphasis in enhancing, strengthening trade and economic relations. Because we all know that India-Russia relations in the area of defense, nuclear, and space is already very, very ahead. In the area of trade and economy, there are efforts made. The trade had reached up to 10 billion, but it has come down for a variety of reasons, hovering around $7 billion. Investment itself has done a great job last year particularly, reaching almost the target which was set by the leaders of the two countries, that is $30 billion by 2025. Investment has already reached almost that level, but in the trade area we need to do a lot. A couple of ideas are there on the table which are being pursued, and new areas are being added. People-to-people relations, science and technology collaboration, and there are many things which have happened. If I recount all that has happened since the last summit till now, when they will be meeting again, the highlights of them will be that a series of governors from the Russian regions have come and interacted with our leaders here, which essentially means that we are going beyond the national level to the sub-national level, where the regions of Russia, states of India, they interact with each other, because we all know the real business and trade actually happens at the level of not only states, but also the level of the cities. All these things are happening on this count. Foreign Secretary had been to Moscow in the month of March for Foreign Office consultations and also, of course, preparation of the summit. That was preceded by National Security Advisor's visit in January, and he actually visited again. Yesterday, he finished his visit, the second one in the same year. And our defense minister also was there in Russia, in Moscow, in the month of April. So you see a lot of preparatory engagements have happened since the last summit. The intensity of engagement with Russia has enhanced. There are many others which I am not recounting here for the benefit of brevity here. Gopal, with that, I would just say that we are looking ahead with this very, very important visit to Russia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, GV. Now I request Shri Randhir Jaiswal for his briefing on the visits to Germany, Spain, and France.
Good afternoon, friends. We have the Prime Minister visiting 3 countries in the Europe West region that I look after. Prime Minister will be traveling to Germany on 29th for the 4th Indo-German intergovernmental consultations. This is a unique format that we have with Germany, wherein both the leaders are assisted by ministers to carry forward bilateral and global discussions. Let me give you a brief outline of what the program looks like. PM will arrive in Berlin on 29th in the evening. The same day, same time, around in the evening, we have a meeting scheduled with Chancellor Merkel at Schloss Messeburg, which is the official country retreat of the German Chancellor. Both the leaders will discuss issues of regional and global importance over dinner there. The following day, on 30th May, PM and Chancellor Merkel will hold the 4th IGC, that is Intergovernmental Consultations, to review the state of our bilateral relations. As I told you, they'll be assisted by several ministers on both sides. Both the leaders will be taking stock of where we stand on the decisions that were taken at the 3rd IGC, which was held in Delhi in October of 2015. And they will also talk about what are the future issues that the two sides would like to look into so as to strengthen and deepen Indo-German relations further. Some of the ministers who would be participating from our side include Minister for Science and Technology, Dr. Harshvardhan, Minister for New and Renewable Energy, Shri Piyush Goyal, Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, Minister of State for External Affairs, Shri M.J. Akbar. Similarly, from the German side, for those who are interested, we have the Foreign Minister of Germany, Mr. Sigmar Gabriel, Education Minister, Mrs. Johanna Wanka, Transport Minister, Mr. Dobrindt, Development Cooperation Minister, Mr. Gerd Muller, and Environment Minister, Ms. Barbara Hendricks, and Economic Minister, Ms. Brigitte Gypris participating. Several MOUs are expected to be signed. This would obviously broaden the scope and expand the canvas of bilateral cooperation that we have with Germany. Thereafter, PM and Chancellor Merkel, they will jointly address India-German Business Summit. Before that, they will interact with a select group of CEOs, keeping in mind that economic relations with Germany is an important and the most important pillar of our partnership. It has a preponderance over other areas. Towards late afternoon, Prime Minister will call on German President, His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, and thereafter in the evening he'll depart for Spain. Just to give you a very brief outline of what are the areas that we are looking at, obviously Germany and India are strategic partners. We have a strategic partnership going back to 2000. Our economic partnership is very strong. We have, it is the largest trade partner for India in the European Union. It is also one of the leading sources of foreign direct investment into India. We have more than 1,600 German companies plus 600 joint ventures here in India, and German economic profile, support, excellence, expertise, they match into our development priorities, be it Make in India, Skill India, Clean India, Digital India, Smart Cities, so on and so forth. Skills cooperation is an important component. Many of you here would be aware of the global reputation of dual wet system of training that that Germany has. We have initiated cooperation on the skill side, and we want to take it further. Several areas of work is underway. We look forward to deepening this particular aspect of our bilateral cooperation during the visit. Thereafter, we have development cooperation, which is a broad area of cooperation. Technology partner, it is one of our leading technology partners. It is also one of our leading science and technology partners. Education, in the field of education, we have a large number of students now going to Germany. We see how best we can also see to bring their convening strength, how do we look at strengthening our partnership. On the global partnership, we have our two countries are closely engaged on several global issues of common concern, including expansion of the UN Security Council, how we deal with terrorism worldwide, and also of other issues of importance in the multilateral arena. So those will be by and large what we are going to discuss in our effort to strengthen India-Germany relations. Thereafter, Prime Minister goes to Spain. This visit to Spain by our Prime Minister is happening after almost 30 years. The last visit was in 1988 when then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi traveled to Madrid. But nonetheless, our Prime Minister did have an interaction with President of the Government of Spain, His Excellency Mr. Mariano Rajoy in Antalya in November 2015 on the sidelines of G20 Summit. Prime Minister will have official engagements, meeting, and thereafter will have a luncheon engagement with Prime Minister Rajoy. Before that, he'll be calling on the King of Spain, King Felipe VI, and also hold a roundtable interaction with select group of CEOs from Spain who are keen to invest and expand their presence here in India. Economic partnership is an important pillar of our engagement with Spain. There are almost 200 Spanish companies here in India, but more importantly, the Spanish expertise and competencies fit very well into our own national priority programs. Some of you here would know the Spanish reputation in the field of renewable energy, in the field of high-speed rail, infrastructure, tunneling, technology solution, including civil aviation, airspace management, wastewater management, so on and so forth. We look forward to engaging Spain and their businesses in our national development programs and priority programs, and see how best we can further strengthen their business presence, and thereafter our own bilateral cooperation. Discussions with Spain will not be limited to bilateral issues. We'll be discussing global issues of common concern. Terrorism, of course, and terrorism cooperation and counterterrorism will be an important element of that agenda. Then from Spain, Prime Minister travels to Germany, on which my colleague has. From Spain, Prime Minister will be traveling to Russia, and after Russia, he comes back to France. He'll be in Paris on second evening, and on third, he has official engagement with the newly elected President of France, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders will have an official meeting, and thereafter, the Prime Minister returns to India. France, as you know, is a leading strategic partner for India. We have very strong ongoing cooperation in the fields in strategic areas, space area, civ nuke area, in the defense area, in the economic area, also in global partnership. They are an important member of the Security Council. We are closely working with them on several issues of common concern. All these issues will be discussed. It will be an opportune moment for our leaders to meet and take the relationship forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Randhir and GV. May we now open the floor for a few questions. We will take all the questions first on Russia and then on Germany, Spain and France.
This is for Mr. Srinivas. You know, it's been several months since Mr. Kadakin passed away. The Russians have not sent his replacement, and India is supposedly dragging its feet on signing an agreement on Kudankulam 3 and 4 or 4 and 5 or whatever. And Russia at one point of time was not talking to Pakistan, but now relations between the two countries are growing. These, and the trade is down to 7 billion from 10 billion. These things would suggest certain cooling of relationship between the two countries. Do you agree? Thanks.
रूस के राष्ट्रपति अभी हाल में वन बेल्ट वन रोड के फोरम में हिस्सा लेने चीन गए हुए थे। भारत को उस मामले में सार्वभौमिकता को लेकर अपनी चिंता है, तो क्या रूस की यात्रा में इस बात को प्रधानमंत्री उठाएंगे?
सर, मधुरेंद्र दिस साइड। रूस के साथ जिस तरह के रिश्ते ठंडे होते जा रहे हैं और चीन पाकिस्तान के साथ एक नया ट्रायंगल जो रूस का बन रहा है, उसकी चिंताएं इस बैठक में कितनी होंगी? और ख़ास तौर पे देखा जा रहा है कि एनएसजी के मसले पर जिस तरह से रूस जो है उसके भी विरोध की बातें आ रही हैं, उस मसले पर किस तरह की बातचीत होने की संभावना है?
Sir, like one of my colleagues just spoke about very low trade between India and Russia at about 7.8 billion. Are we going to look at agreements this time to boost investments between the two countries, and also any kind of announcements related to diamond trade between India and Russia?
Can you give us an update on ongoing negotiations on the 5th generation fighter aircraft? What is the present status now?
Okay, so thank you very much for, okay.
I'm given to understand that France was not on the original travel schedule of the Prime Minister. Were you taken by surprise? And what are the specific issues that will be presented on the table when he meets the young president?
I think we are taking questions for Russia, but if you know the original schedule of Prime Minister, do let me know.
This is on Russia. What about the signing of agreement between the MCI, on the degrees, acceptance of degrees, medical degrees from Russia? It's been long pending, and is there any deadline for it?
Thank you. There have been some phrases which have been used by you, sir. Rather than actually joining there, I would instead point out to the fact that last year, if you see the kind of investment which had happened in the field of oil both ways, is never ever in the history of India. Forget about only with Russia. I don't know why you qualify the way you qualified. You should have some reasons, but I would point to the other facts that this kind of relationship, it is going very upspeed. Yes, trade, we all agree. I was the first person to confess that we could have done better. But again, in the light of the global trend, etc., it may not necessarily be that bad a trend either. But yes, there are challenges. There are efforts which are being made, whether it is popularization of the INSTC, International North-South Transport Corridor, with the purpose of supporting the agriculture perishable goods, because please remember, the strength of this corridor is not necessarily only the 40% reduction in the time or the money eventually, but the fact that there are items which suddenly make tremendous sense over this corridor with no need for double fumigation, which is otherwise necessary when the goods have to go via 45 days longer circuitous route. India-Eurasian Economic Union Free Trade Agreement, if you recall, last December we had that little progress when the Eurasian Economic Union had agreed to launch free trade agreement with India. That will also soon begin. We are talking of green corridor, which will also help and facilitate and encourage our businessmen as we make the entire transaction hassle-free and fast. We have already decided, if you recall, the TIR, the cabinet has agreed to allow India to apply for TIR convention membership. For those who do not know, let me point out that India is the only country which was out of this TIR convention from among the INSTC countries, other exception being Oman. But be as it may, we were the ones who were out, and we were parallelly struggling to actually put in place some customs harmonization, standardization agreement with the member countries. All that will become actually automatic under TIR convention membership. And there is a next step to that which is also being attempted, which is ETIR, essentially meaning the electronic submission of the documentation so that everything flows. So you can see that the governmental level, we are trying to push many areas so that this trade becomes very, very good and as commensurate with the rest of the relationship which we have with Russia. There will be many issues on the agenda as the Prime Minister and President Putin meet. All the issues which you have flagged there, I am sure they will be coming there. Our position on the areas of interest which you just pointed out are well known. Our position also on that subject is also well articulated. They will definitely come up for discussion there. When a foreign country designates its ambassador, etc., we leave that honor to the other country. We do not necessarily start. Yes, we are desirous. It will happen, if not today, tomorrow. But the relationship between two countries progresses irrespective of that fact, because it all depends upon the comfort, the reason, logistics, whatever they have. And we will, how many agreements will be signed to push trade, etc., as we go to St. Petersburg? Yes, a series of agreements are being put in place. Whether diamond figures in that or not, you would really get to know that day. But the issues of diamond are perhaps not necessarily relevant to the agreement. Please remember that thing, because that part has already been covered, that Alrosa is willing to open its office in Mumbai. Sighting of the diamonds from Alrosa in Mumbai is happening. People are seeing. It's a different matter that because of the taxation issues on our side, and for the reasons which we all know, it has not really gained traction to have the trading in the raw diamonds, an area which is actually grabbing the attention of all the officials on this side and on the other side. But even with that, out of the 2 billion trade of diamonds in raw, which we have with Russia, 700 million actually happens directly. So that indicates that, yes, we can gain, particularly the small and medium enterprises will gain from this direct trading of the raw diamonds from India, but we will have to wait. Things are progressing. The diamond bourse in Mumbai is already functioning, so in times to come, it will definitely happen also. The other things, the defense projects which you referred to, whether that will see some progress, etc., we will again leave what is happening. That was the question basically. So we all know that it is being analyzed. This project is extremely long and very ambitious, high technological. So we are extremely grateful to Russia that they really wanted to take us on board. But this discussion is happening. What will be the moment, etc., only the summit will tell you. Degrees. I am glad that you asked this question, but please remember that there is no equivalence of degrees per se, which is an issue, not only with Russia for that matter, but with other countries also. What is the issue is actually whether those students who study abroad and come back, can they really pass this examination which has been put by our Medical Council of India here. Now, that of course will depend. We need to internally also make sure that the doctors who give us medicines are actually well qualified. So that examination is there, but as far as the recognition of medical degrees is concerned, I don't think that is really relevant. There are some efforts. Today only there was a big meeting taken by Secretary Oya, that oversees Indian affairs, when he interacted with all the ambassadors here, where most of Indian students study, and there was a way forward which they're contemplating. I'm sure that that will also happen, so that we not only study abroad, but our degrees are recognized, we're able to practice, we're able to function, not only in medical area, but in other areas also. I think I covered everything. Thank you. That again is, as I said to you, you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me tell you, sir, 1 to 4 already done. Up, kick, running, killing, kicking. Even the 3 and 4 concrete poured. That Prime Minister Modi and President Putin had themselves actually video inaugurated that element. So that's of course on track, it's happening. It's a question of 5 and 6, which also is a work in progress. I will leave actually not to steal the thunder, let the summit deliverables indicate to you what really is achievable. But let me say that let's not assess what is happening, what's not happening. We're all working, even as we speak, agreements are being assembled for delivery there. But even without agreement, the very fact that the Prime Minister and President Putin are meeting after 8 months in a setting entirely in St. Petersburg, interacting together with thousands of people who will be assembling in St. Petersburg, it's an indication that the things are really looking up and they have only one way to go, which is upwards.
Thank you very much, GV. I may just add here about Kudankulam 5 and 6 and NSG. You would have seen some days ago the response which was issued from the Ministry of External Affairs. It's in public domain, you are very well aware. Those reports which I think you are basing your query on, and somebody asked about NSG also, those reports were completely incorrect and baseless. I had used another adjective which I don't want to repeat here. Can we take questions on France and Spain and Germany?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir, last time the Prime Minister visited Germany, there was a Make in India showcase at the Hanover Messe. So 2 years have since passed. How do you rate the showcasing, and can you cite some specific examples where Germany has come forth for the Make in India program?
Akhilesh?
So just I wonder whether there is any deal on defense, any framework agreement on defense, and also we were thinking that there should be some marine deal between India and Germany. So what is the status of that?
सर, स्पेन के साथ बातचीत में आपने रेल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और रेल प्रोजेक्ट का जिक्र किया। स्पेन की एक ट्रेन टेल्गो का ट्रायल भारत में हुआ था, और उस ट्रायल के बाद ये फाइनलाइज नहीं हुआ कि डील होगा भी या नहीं होगा, जबकि तमाम फॉर्मेलिटीज़ यहाँ पर टेल्गो ने पूरी की थी। तो उसको लेकर क्या कोई बातचीत होनी है, एजेंडा में कुछ शामिल है उस?
Sir, the Prime Minister is visiting countries like Russia, Germany and France. All three have very different positions when it comes to Crimea. Would India indicate sort of a reconsideration on Crimea during his trip, during the Prime Minister's trip to Moscow?
So the three countries apart from Russia that the Prime Minister is visiting, namely France, Germany and Spain, are three of the largest EU countries in terms of their economies, and also are currently ruled by governments that are very pro-EU in terms of their positions. Given that, and the fact that many EU countries, including Germany, through its ambassador, recently indicated that they would like us to move forward on the free trade agreement with the EU, how much do we expect that to figure in our talks with these three countries? And are we also, in a sense, looking at any cooperation in terms of other aspects, including the OBOR, for example, where some of these countries have shared concerns similar to ours? So are we perhaps looking at an alternative partnership for globalization, for support of globalization, which is different from the way the Chinese are proceeding on it?
All right, so I don't see any more hands, so maybe we could come to the answers.
थैंक यू। पहले मैं आपसे शुरुआत करूंगा, आपने रेलगाड़ी की जिक्र की। टालगो का यहाँ पर हमारे देश में कई महीने पहले उसकी एक्सपेरिमेंट्स वगैरह हुई थी। ये मसला रेल मंत्रालय के एक खेमे में है। कुछ मामलों में हालांकि बहुत बढ़िया टेक्नोलॉजी है, दुनिया भर में उसका मान्यता है, लेकिन कुछ मामलों में कुछ इश्यूज़, टेक्निकल इश्यूज़ हैं, बहुत सारे टेक्निकल इश्यूज़ होते हैं, तो वहाँ पर आके चीज़ें थोड़ी रुकी हुई हैं। बाकी आने वाले दिनों में इसको कैसे हम आगे ले जा सकते हैं, इसको हम लोग दोनों तरफ देखेंगे। शायद प्रधानमंत्री की यात्रा के दौरान ये बात उठे वहाँ पर। वो एक प्राइवेट कंपनी है, उसको हम लोग जो हमारी अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट है उसके तहत हम देखेंगे क्या वो दे सकते हैं, क्या हम कर सकते हैं। तो ये तो रही थी टालगो की बात। Now, coming to the question on France, France is a strategic partner of India, a very important relationship, and it's always good that when you are dealing with strategic partners, that you meet with leaders as early as possible. The French elections happened recently, and we are very happy that we have got an opportunity for the two leaders to meet and take the agenda forward. On the question of Make in India, Germany, as I told you, there are 1,600 German companies here. There are 600 more German joint ventures, Indo-German joint ventures. They are part and parcel of Make in India. A lot has happened in the last 2 years since Hanover Messe, and now we have a significant increase in investment figures. If you ask me for those, I will not be in a position to give you right now, but Jamal Mittelstand company, the small and medium enterprises, they have moved into India, and more are likely to move in as we expand, as we open more opportunities for them. On the question of defense deal with Germany, we have defense is an important component of our relationship. We have regular meetings between to take forward defense cooperation, and hopefully we can make it more attractive in the days to come for German companies to come and invest in India as part of Make in India program. Sorry? Submarine issue is something which is part of a larger rubric of issues that we discuss. So we'll look at it as and when time comes to it. The question of bilateral investment treaty, or to put it correctly, broad-based trade and investment agreement with the European Union, yes, it's an important engagement that we have, and all these 3 countries that Prime Minister would be visiting on my desk, that is Germany, Spain, and France. For them, it's important. We have had 16 rounds of negotiations. We have called for another meeting of chief negotiators soon, and hopefully we can move forward. We remain committed to take this bilateral trade and investment agreement with the European Union forward. This is, they are one of our most important trade partners, one of our most important investment partners. On the question of ABOR, India's position is very well known. There are countries who have their position. That is how we look at it. And then the question of Crimea, I think I'll leave it to my colleague to answer that particular question.
Thank you. I don't think that there is any reason why the country would be visiting these 4 important countries to only change its positions. I don't think our position is well known to you. There will be all issues of bilateral interest, regional interest, which will be coming there. What exactly will come, I am not pretty sure on that count. I just wanted, with your permission, to add just to flag to attention to 2 aspects which had happened with Russia in the past months since Goa summit. The leaders had mandated 2 special bodies created, which also actually met also. One was on military industrial conference, the first meeting of which took place in the month of March when the Commerce Minister visited here along with our Defense Minister. They had the first side. For those who do not know, this is the first time that both the military and industry on the both sides came together to take forward this idea of collaboration beyond the only buyer-seller in the area of military technical cooperation to the level of actually reaching Make in India. One of the examples already is ahead of you, that is Kamo 226, and well before that this BrahMos. There will be many others also which are being planned, including in the area of spares. The second thing is about the technology transfer. Of course, Russia is one of the sources, actually perhaps only one, which provides us the high technology, and this has been happening, but it has also been institutionalized now, and this body of high-tech conference commission is being led on the Indian side by our Defense Minister, and on the other side, on the Russian side, by the Russian Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Rogozin. These 2 developments also indicate that a lot is being done to ensure that the relationship is taken to the larger basket of subjects.
Thank you very much, GV, and I think with that we will come to the conclusion of this part. We'll take a very short break when our colleagues, we thank them also for joining us as they leave the dais. But before we close this part, I would like to mention just one fact which may be of interest to many of you. As you know, India has institutionalized regular summit mechanisms with 3 countries in the world. My good friend GV mentioned at the very beginning about Russia, which was institutionalized in 2000. We have it with Germany, and we have it with Japan. Now, this visit of the Prime Minister is very important. As you can see, the regularized summits will be taking place with 2 out of these countries, these 3 countries with which we have institutionalized mechanism. So I just want to leave you with the thought of the significance and importance of this forthcoming visit of Prime Minister. Thank you. We'll just break for a minute, and then we will resume our weekly briefing. Okay, so let's start. Just to let you know, those of you who do not know, I think perhaps you might be getting updates on your handsets. Miss Uzma Ahmad has arrived in India. She's I think right now with our High Commission and government officials at the airport. They would soon be making their way to JNB. So let us try and wind up this session so that you can have a break and some tea in between, and then we can look forward to the interaction that you are going to have with the External Affairs Minister and Ms. Ahmed. Yes, Srinjoy, just a second. I have an announcement to make. So after that, Srinjoy, yours hand I saw the first. I have an announcement on the forthcoming visit of the Prime Minister of Mauritius to India. His Excellency Mr. Pravind Kumar Jagannath, who will be on a state visit to India from 26th to 28th May 2017, with 27th May as the main working day of engagements. This will be his first visit abroad after assuming the office of the Prime Minister of Mauritius in January this year. The Prime Minister of Mauritius will be accompanied by his spouse, Ms. Kobita Ramadani Jagannath, Deputy Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Ivan Kolandavelu, and 3 senior officials, including the Cabinet Secretary and Finance Secretary to the Government of Mauritius. Prime Minister Jagannath will be accorded a ceremonial welcome where he will inspect a guard of honor at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on 27th May forenoon. This will be followed by a visit to Rajghat to pay tributes to the father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi. His official engagements include calls on the President of India and the Vice President of India, delegation level talks with the Prime Minister, and calls on the Honorable Prime Minister of Mauritius by External Affairs Minister, the Defense and Finance Minister, the Home Minister, the Minister of State, Independent Charge for Petroleum and Natural Gas, and other leaders. Prime Minister Jagannath will address a business event in New Delhi, jointly organized by Apex Chambers of Commerce and Industry, CII, FICCI, and ASSOCHAM on 26th May, that is tomorrow. He will also be felicitated at a civic reception hosted by the India Foundation on 27th May 2017. India and Mauritius, as you know, have indelible linkages of history, ethnicity, culture, and language, which have shaped the unique relations between the two countries over the years. The diverse and multifaceted bilateral ties gained significant momentum following the Prime Minister's landmark visit to Mauritius in March 2015. Prime Minister Jagannath's forthcoming visit to India is a part of our continuing engagement with the government of Mauritius at the highest level and reflects the special ties between our two countries. With that, I end my announcement. Srinjoy, if you wish to ask a question.
Sir, you would have seen statements by a Pakistani retired Lieutenant General, Shoaib, who has had links with the intelligence community of his country, about the fact that Kulbhushan Jadhav was brought by Pakistani authorities from Iran. Now, could you just tell us what the government has to say on this and what it means vis-a-vis the situation at ICJ and everything else?
Srinjoy, without venturing into commenting on what the former Lieutenant General of Pakistan you referred to has said, because I do not know what position he held or he holds now, but I would draw your attention to what the government has been saying since last year, which is that Kulbhushan Jadhav had been kidnapped from Iran, and in the absence of his of consular access to him, the circumstances of his presence in Pakistan remain unexplained. Well, the ICJ matter, as you know, is sub judice. We all welcomed and we had a great relief last week when the ICJ passed on the order for provisional measures. Beyond that, I think it's not within my competence to comment. It's up to the court to decide what it will do in future. And when the court proceedings unfold, as they go on, we'll have to see what facts to submit to ICJ. That is up to the legal team which the government has assembled. Parikshit.
Sir, Pakistan's propaganda machinery has been working furiously over the last 2 days. We have seen that video being released by Pakistan. And yesterday, the ISPR, the Pakistani military's media wing, had put out a tweet, a press release saying that Indian forces have targeted a Unmogip vehicle. Later on, the UN Secretary General's office themselves clarified and rejected this, saying there is no evidence of any Unmogip vehicle being targeted. How do you see this?
Well, I would say that I understand that with the Unmogip clarification or the UN clarification, the matter should rest at that. I do not understand the need to discuss the matter any further. And obviously, it is, as you know, the Indian forces stationed along the line of control or international border, they do not initiate ceasefire violations. They respond only to ceasefire violations from the other side, which are many times given to cover the infiltrators. And even that they do with a great sense of responsibility, restraint, and in a very calibrated manner.
NSG मेंबरशिप को लेकर 2 दिन पहले ही चाइना के जो प्रवक्ता ने कहा है, ऑफिशियल प्रवक्ता ने, कि हमारी स्थिति वही है जो पुराना उनका रुख था। तो क्या भारत इसको लेकर किस तरह से सोचता है, किस तरह से आगे बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि चाइना ने अपना रुख बदला नहीं है?
NSG की सदस्यता को लेकर के जो हमारे प्रयास हैं वो जारी हैं। उसके संदर्भ में हम जिन भी देशों से और सभी सदस्य देशों से हम बात कर रहे थे, बात कर रहे हैं, और हम उनसे एंगेज रहेंगे, उनसे बात करते रहेंगे। उसमें हमारे प्रयासों में भी कोई कमी नहीं आई है और आने वाली भी नहीं है। अखिलेश जी।
कुलभूषण जाधव के मामले में अपील होनी थी, उनकी मर्सी अपील भी होनी थी, किस किस स्तर पे अपील होनी थी, उस मामले पे क्या डेवलपमेंट है? कहीं अपील हुई है, कहीं एक्सेप्ट हुई है या नहीं? आपको चार्जशीट मिला या नहीं मिला?
जो हमने पिछले हफ्ते कहा था अखिलेश जी, उसके बाद इस स्थिति में कोई बदलाव नहीं है। हमारी जानकारी में कोई बदलाव नहीं आया है। जो कुलभूषण जाधव जी की माता जी ने जो अपील और पेटिशन भेजी थी हाई कमीशन के ज़रिए, वो हम लोगों ने पाकिस्तान सरकार के हवाले कर दिया था। उनकी क्या स्थिति है इस संबंध में हमें कोई जानकारी नहीं है, और हमें इस बात की भी कोई जानकारी नहीं है कि उनके ऊपर क्या चार्जेस थे, और कोर्ट के जो बाकी डॉक्यूमेंट हमने मांगे थे वो भी अभी हमारे संज्ञान में नहीं आए।
जो कुलभूषण जाधव की मदर ने पिटीशन भेजा है, वो हाई कमीशन ने डायरेक्टली कोर्ट में फाइल नहीं किया?
जो वो पेटिशन है और अपील है, दो चीज़ें हैं विनीता। उसमें जिस तरीके से उसको किया जाना है वो पाकिस्तान का जो संबद्ध कानून है, संबंधित कानून है, उसके आधार पर किया जाना है, और उसमें कुछ प्रावधान हैं जिनके हिसाब से ही वो किया जाना है। तो क्योंकि संबंधित व्यक्ति ने वो अपील फाइल करी है, कुलभूषण जाधव ने या नहीं हमें पता नहीं है, लेकिन उनका जीवन बहुमूल्य है। उनका जीवन बचाने के लिए, ख़ासतौर से उनके परिवार की जो चिंता है, उसके लिए उसकी माताजी ने भेजा था पेटिशंस को और अपील को। तो वो हाई कमीशन जो कर सकता था वो ये कि हमने उनको पाकिस्तान सरकार के हवाले किया।
Sir, over the weekend, an Indian national from Mumbai was arrested in Islamabad. Has India applied for consular access? And also 3 Pakistanis are arrested from Bangalore. Any update on that?
आप शेख नबी की बात कर रहे हैं। शेख नबी के बारे में जब रिपोर्ट्स हमने देखी तो हमने तुरंत ही वहाँ के विदेश मंत्रालय से, पाकिस्तान के विदेश मंत्रालय से, वी हैड कंटेक्टेड, एस्टैब्लिश्ड कंटेक्ट, वी हैड आस्क्ड देम फॉर फैक्ट्स, एंड वी हैव आल्सो आस्क्ड फॉर consular access to him. We await the response to our request. On your question about the 3 other individuals, I would think that you could direct this information to concerned agencies or Home Ministry. I don't have details at the moment.
Gopal, the fact that Uzma Ahmed has crossed over Wagah and she's coming to meet us, if the Pakistanis wanted to make things difficult, they could have gone to the Supreme Court and so on. That did not happen. Would that suggest a softening of Pakistan's attitude towards India, do you think? Number one. Number two, have the Pakistanis asked for a possible meeting between the two prime ministers when Mr. Modi goes to Astana? Thanks.
On your second question, I am not aware of any such request that we have received so far. On your first question, I think I should let it remain for the interaction. You will hear from the lady concerned, and our External Affairs Minister will also speak about it. The External Affairs Minister has tweeted that she is welcome, and she is a daughter of India. We are relieved that she is back home. I would leave it at that at this stage.
सुखोई विमानों के लापता होने पर चीन से कोई मदद ऑफिशियली मांगी गई है या सूचना सरकारी स्तर पर दी गई है चीन को?
नहीं, इसके संबंध में मुझे कोई जानकारी नहीं है।
Sir, reports came out yesterday quoting the Petronet CEO, Petronet LNG, that India, Japan has agreed to set up a $250 million LNG import plant in Sri Lanka. Can you give us some information on that?
You know, as you know, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about this. In fact, last month when the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka had visited, there are various projects which the Government of India and Government of Sri Lanka have agreed to undertake jointly. They are in various fields, in the field of infrastructure, energy, etc. So I don't at the moment know whether Japan is involved in one of them, or are you referring to a separate project? But are you referring to a separate project, or? Yeah, so I at the moment do not have information on participation of Japan or any other country. So I think we can stop here and break. I would remind you that we will meet here after some time, after Ms. Uzma Ahmed has arrived. We will all meet here, and External Affairs Minister will be here with us. In the meantime, do enjoy your tea break. Tea is served in the media briefing hall. Thank you very much. What time she is expected?